Hi and welcome back, and we're going to tackle our very last square. So this is the one that we're going to be working on today. And before we get started, I just quickly wanted to talk to you about blocking your squares. So if you haven't done already, or you don't know how to block, I've put a video online. I put a link in the description box below for you, and if you want to check that one out, it now will be a good time to get all those squares together and block them, or even block your bigger square that you've attached together. So let's get cracking on this one, and you're going to start off with the cloud blue. 4mm hook again as normal, and we're going to work into a circle, and we're going to do 8 trebles into that circle. But this one is quite a small circle and it's quite tight, so what I want to do is use a different technique to do our starting circle. So go ahead and make a slip knot on your yarn, standard slip knot, and we're going to do the chain method of making a magic circle. So chain 4, and then find your very first chain and slip stitch into it, and that creates your circle. Now it might not be very clear at the moment, but in here is your circle that you're going to be working into. So just pull it apart. Now you're not going to be working into this hole up here. This is from your stitch. You're working into this middle here. So pull it apart a little bit to make sure you find the right one. If you go into there, you're going to pull all your stitch apart and it won't work. So you make sure you go into this middle bit, and you're going to do 8 UK trebles. So that's your yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, straight back in, same space for our second one, 3, it's a bit squeaky today, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one 8, and that's your very center done. So go back and check, so counting the tops, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, that's my 8th one there, which is sort of pulled over slightly, so that's my 8th stitch, and I'm going to finish up by slip stitching into that very first stitch to complete my round. Pull on your tail just to pull that middle in, because you've worked into it now, and you can snip off this yarn because that's the last time we are going to use that yarn. So whilst I'm talking about using your yarn, you're getting near the end of the project now. So this is the last set of squares that you're doing, but you're also going to then add a border onto it. So like me, you've probably got to a point where you're thinking, I'm running quite low on yarn. So for example, I'm just going to show you, this is what I have left in my cloud blue, but in my Aster, which is the next colour we're going to use, it's a bit of a mess. But I haven't got very much left. I've got enough to do my square, so I've done all 7 squares on this one, and I'm just working on the 8th one with you. So I've got enough to finish it off, but I won't probably have enough on that one to do a border. So for each border you need 12 grams of yarn. So when you finish working your last square, weigh your yarn and pick the colours for the border where you have enough yarn left over. So some of them I've got a lot more. So for example, the mustard, I've got shed loads of mustard, so we're definitely going to be having a border in mustard. But yes, check your yarn at this point and pick out the colours that you're going to add your border. So let's get, okay, so we're ready to move on to our next round. So you need to join your next colour, which is, for me is Aster, and I'm going to join in the stitch after the joining stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook in the top of that treble, pull through, chain 4. Okay, skip a stitch, and then work a double crochet UK double into the next, chain 4 again, skip the next one, double crochet into the next, chain 4, okay, skip the next one into the next one, chain 4, skip in your next one, and you're going to just join where you started. So you're going to just do a slip stitch into your very first double crochet. So you should have a little circle with your 4 chain 4 spaces on your circle. Now you're going to slip stitch into, for the next round this is, so slip stitch into the chain 4 space, and then work a double crochet into that one, a half treble. We're going to make these little fans here now, a UK treble, half treble again, so that's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, double crochet, and then you're going to do your last double crochet into the double crochet from the round below. So that's this tiny little space here. So just going into that one, then straight into the chain 4 space of the next one, double crochet again, half treble, treble, half treble, coming down the other side, double, and then your last double into that double from the previous round, jumping straight into the next space, so double crochet, half treble, treble, half treble again, double crochet, last double crochet into that double crochet from the previous round, into your last chain, so you're getting like a square shape now, last chain 4 space, so double crochet, half treble, treble, oh, came off, half treble, double crochet, and don't forget your last double crochet into that very last stitch, and then you're just going to slip stitch to join into your very first stitch that you did, and that gives you sort of a square shape, as you can see, slightly square. You can now fasten off this yarn, and the next colour we're going to be using is the mustard. I'm going to snip that one off. There you go. Let's get it. Okay, so we're now going to work on the mustard colour, which is this pattern here. So we don't need very much of the mustard, and we're going to start in our UK treble, so in the top of our UK treble. So just to point this out to you, on our chain 4 that we did in the previous round, we had our double crochet, our half treble, and this is our treble, so it's the one at the top of your corner. So on this one, it'd be this one here. So it doesn't matter where you start, but you're going to start with that treble, slip stitch in, and then work a DC into that stitch, chain 3. You're going to skip 2 stitches, which will take you down to the double crochet from the previous round. So it's this middle bit here, and you're going to work a UK treble V stitch. Very simple. All you do is a UK treble into that stitch, chain 1, and then another UK treble into exactly the same stitch, and this forms a V. Chain 3 again, jump into the top, your treble stitch. So I've missed my double, missed my half, I'm into the treble, double crochet at the top, chain 3, skipping down the other side to my double crochet. So I'm skipping 2, double crochet in there, doing a treble V stitch. So that's 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 3. I'm going to find the top of my corner, which is this one, double crochet, chain 3, skipping 2, find my double crochet in that one, UK treble V stitch. Don't forget that chain 1, that's what pushes it out into a V stitch. My yarn's not pulling, it's pulling out. Chain 3, find the top of the next stitch. So I'm missing 2, going into the top of my UK treble, and I'm going to do a UK double crochet, chain 3, coming all the way around to my last one, which is my double crochet. So I'm just going to do my last V stitch into that one, which is where we joined, so that's why it looks a little bit funky. Do my chain 1 back into that stitch, and don't forget the all important chain 3. You can then slip stitch your mustard yarn into the top of the stitch that you started off with. So that's this one here. I've slip stitch in, and as you can see now, we've got our V's in the sides of our squares, if you like, and our double crochets in the peak of our square. And that's the end of that round. You can go ahead and snip that yarn off. And as you can also see, I've been sewing in my ends as we go. Doesn't want to pull up, there he is. So I pulled that one up, that one's done, and we're going to move on now to this round here, which is in the duck egg blue. So if you want to go ahead and get your duck egg and join me back, and I'll show you how to start the next one. Okay, so you should now have your next colour, which for me is the duck egg blue, and you're going to join in any one of the double crochets that you've done on the mustard round, and just join with a slip stitch, or whichever way you prefer to join. There is no rules on how to join on that one. So slip stitch, and then I'm going to work a double crochet back into that stitch, and then I'm going to jump this chain space here, and I'm going to go straight into this V, and in this V here I'm going to do 9 double trebles. So not a normal treble, or a UK double treble. So that one's yarn over twice, go to the V, not the chain space, the V, yarn over, pull through 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So that's your first one. Yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, and again, and you're going to do that 9 times into this one little V space. So it seems, sorry, I did a normal treble then. I'm just going to do that again. Yarn over twice. Actually, I'm not sure if I did a normal treble, but it certainly felt like it. So let's be sure, because we want that height to build up. Because this time we're building out our fans at the side. How many have I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 more. It's rather a lot, isn't it? All going into that one little V space. Oops, I lost it. And that's your first fan. So this is this corner here that we're making. You're going to go to your double crochet and just do a double crochet into the top of your double crochet from your previous round, and that just anchors that corner down. Missing your chain 4 space, straight into the next V, 9 UK double trebles. So don't forget you're yarning over twice. Let's pull my yarn. Sorry, my yarn's stuck. Let's pull that through. So yarn over twice, and you're working 9 double trebles into each V space as you go round, and 1 double crochet into the double crochet of the previous round. So this is the one that anchors down your chains. So work all the way around until you have 4 petal shapes, and then meet me back at the end and I'll show you how to finish off this round. Okay, so you should now have worked all the way around, and you should have your 4 sets of petals with 9 double trebles into them. And to finish off our round, you're just going to slip stitch into the top of the double crochet that you did to start with, and you can now snip off that yarn and pull up your ends, and that's that row finished. So we're now going to move on to the royal blue, and we're going to be doing 2 rows in royal blue, and the first one you need to join in your second double treble stitch of one of the fans. So whichever one you want to start with, it doesn't matter. So this is your first stitch here, and this is your second stitch. So you join on the second stitch, and then you're going to do a chain 3. You're going to miss a stitch and then another double crochet in there. So let's go through it together. So this is my second one. Slip stitch, and then just do a DC into that one, chain 3, miss the next one, double crochet into the next one, chain 3, miss the next one, double crochet into the next one, chain 3, miss the next one, double crochet into the next one. So I've got 4 double crochets with a chain 3 in between, chain 3 again, and that takes you down. If you're missing one, that takes you down to the double crochet in the trough between the petals, and in there I want you to do a UK treble V-stitch again. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, back into the same space, UK treble. Sorry, my yarn's all caught up. And that finishes off your V-stitch. So you're going to do that on each petal. So you have 4 double crochets with a chain 3 in between, your V-stitch in the bottom. So on this one, you're missing the next stitch. You're going to do your double crochet into the next one here. Sorry, let's do it properly. Chain 3. Always do that, and then when you do the next round and you realise you haven't got a chain 3 to work into, double crochet into the miss one, double crochet into the next, chain 3, miss one, double crochet into the next, chain 3, miss one, double crochet into the next, chain 3 again, miss one, double crochet into the next, chain 3. My yarn is definitely not playing today. I'm going to miss one, I'm going to go into this one, but again I'm going to do that V-stitch. So don't forget the chain 1 between that V-stitch, that's what makes it a V. And that's my V-stitch. Chain your 3, missing 1, double crochet into the next. So carry on all the way around. Don't forget to do your chain 3s, and join me at the end and we'll finish it off together. Don't fasten off your yarn because we're going to use it again in the next round. Okay, so you should now have worked all the way around. Done your chain 3, you're going to miss one. I've got, as you can see here, in each of my sides here, I've got my V-stitches at the bottom and the side, and I'm on my last V-stitch here. So I'm just going to go into that double crochet at the bottom and work a UK treble, chain 1, back in, UK treble, chain 3, and then you're going to attach it to your first one. So it's important that you don't forget that last chain 3 because you need that one. You're just going to attach it into the top of your first double crochet. I lost it, let's try that again. There we go. And now for the next row, we're going to be working into the chain spaces that we've created. So just pull that up and take my hook out. So we're going to be working into these all the way along and including into the top of the V's as well. Okay, and we need to now make more of a square shape. So we're going to be squaring it off and creating corners. So our first one is we need to get our yarn into that chain space that we had on the previous round. So if you just slip stitch into that one, chain 4, so this counts as a UK treble and a chain 1, then we're doing a UK treble back into that one, and that counts as your V stitch for that one. Then you're jumping straight to the next one and you're going to do a UK, you're going to do a corner on this one. So this is, so if you look at our work here, this is our corners at the top of the the duck egg blue fans, okay? So make sure you don't get carried away and do too many. So your next one is going to be a corner, which is 2 UK trebles, exactly like we've done all the other corners. Chain 3, 2 UK trebles into that next V. Okay, then you jump into the next one and we're going to work along the side. So you're going to do a UK treble V stitch. So UK treble, chain 1, UK treble. Jump to the next one, UK treble, chain 1, UK treble. Then we're going to the next one, which is our V. Okay, so don't miss this one. UK treble, chain 1, UK treble, and that's working me all the way down the side. Next chain space, they're nice and big, so they're nice and easy to find. There we go. So I'm just going to lay it down flat so you can see. So this is our corner here, and now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to do one more V stitch before we do our next corner. So doing a V stitch in this one, and now we're at our next corner, and we're going to do 2 trebles, chain 3. My yarn is not unraveling, it's at the very end of the ball, so it doesn't want to play. 2 more UK trebles into that one, and that's created our next corner. So again, I'll lie it down flat for you. So as you can see, we're starting to square off our edges. This is where we started up here, and you have your corner stitch here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 V's, and we're into the next corner. So carry on all the way around, making sure you have 5 V's. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another corner. So if you want to put stitch markers in those to mark those corners so you don't forget, it's up to you. Don't forget that V stitch in the middle, you're working into that one as well. So carry on all the way around, and then I'll show you how to finish off with the royal blue. So you should now work all the way around, and you should have your corners with 5 sets of V's in between. So that's my corner there, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back into another corner. So check your stitch count is right, and check that your angles are right. So your corners should be at the point of the top of the fan here. Okay, so that's where your corners should sit. You might find if you've started on the wrong stitch at some point on your royal blue round, that the center is slightly skew, and that your corner sort of starts down here somewhere. So check that you've got it right, otherwise when you put them all together, you might have some that are perfectly square shaped and others that look a bit odd because you haven't started in the right place. So I'm on my last set of V stitches now. So I've got my last chain 4 space. So that's that one. Chain 1, last one in there. And then I'm going to slip stitch to join in the top of this one. So remember we did a chain 4, so I want into the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, that's that one there, because a chain 4 is the top part of the V. Slip stitch in, snip that one off, grab hold of your white yarn, and we're going to finish our very last round. Okay, so you should have now finished your blue round. We've joined our yarn, and we're going to start in the corner, and we're going to do our white border. Now remember, all our borders are exactly the same. You have 2 trebles, chain 3, 2 trebles in each corner, and a total of 23 UK trebles between those chain 3 spaces. So you need to make sure on each side you've got 23, because you're going to need the exact number to marry them up when you stitch them all together. So join in any corner with slip stitch, chain 3 for your first treble, and then another treble, chain 3, and another treble into that one, and your last one creates your very first corner. And now you're going to be working into the top of the stitches. This is your first one here, so UK treble into there, The first few are very obvious. You're working into the top of the stitch. Then your next one. And then you get to a V. Okay, so there is a stitch there and there's a stitch there. You want to try and get into the top of this stitch here. Okay, it's not always easy. If you do need to go into the space that the chain one is created, then you can do that. It doesn't make any difference. It just means the stitch looks or appears, sorry I split my yarn there, appears a little bit longer than the others. So into that one, into the next stitch, we're back into the gap in between, then we're back into the top of another V, so we've got to try and get into the top of this stitch. They are fiddly. Then into the top of that one, into this next stitch. Some of them are very obvious. Then we're back into the top of a V. So we're going into the top of that stitch there. Oh, he doesn't want to come apart, this one. I hope you guys get the same sort of problem as I do. There he is. Then to the top of the next one. Then to the top of that stitch. And we're back into a V. Into the top of the next one. Into the top of the next stitch. Then we're back to our V again, so we're trying to get into this stitch here. Top of the next one. Last couple. Last stitch there. And then we're into our corner. So we're doing 2 trebles in there. Chain 3. 2 trebles. Oops, lost it. Okay, so let's just do a quick count and make sure we're right. So I'm not counting these 2 here on because they count for this row. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 before we go around the corner. So the trick with these is to, when you get into the V's, don't forget to do that chain 1 space as well, and in between the V's as well, so you've got your stitches there. So I hope that makes sense. Work all the way around, and then when you get to the other end, you're just going to slip stitch into your chain 3 that you created. So you're going into the top of the chain 3, and that's it. That's your square done. So I hope you've enjoyed the very last square. You now need to make 8 of these in total. So once you've made all 8, then I would advise blocking them to get them nice and flat, because as you can see with this one, because we've got so many stitches into a small space, they tend to curl up at the edges. So block out your squares and then join me for the next week's tutorial, which will be joining your squares and adding the last border. What I would also do at this stage, if I were you, is weigh your yarn. So as you can see, I have got plenty of duck egg left and I have plenty of mustard left. Not so much of the aster, just a little bit of aster, so I might use that colour to join my stitches, because I'm going to do an invisible join. Again, not a lot left of my royal blue. Let's get those out of the way. But I have enough left of my cloud, so my border will probably be those 3 colours, and I might add in my white as well, but it's entirely up to you and it depends what you have left. When I crochet, I'm quite a loose crocheter, but my testers, some of them had a lot more of the other colours available left, because they crochet a lot tighter than I do. So it just depends, and there's no right or wrong, and it depends what colours you're using. You might have loads left of any of them. But that's the end of this round, and as I said, tune in next week and we will be going through the joining the squares and how to lay them out, and then we will look at how to add your border. Thanks for watching.